Hey, welcome back. Brian here. As promised, here's the Q&A I wanted to do. You guys asked a ton of awesome questions, and I picked a few to answer. Before I get into that though, I want to quickly thank everybody who bought a poster or a light or subscribed to my Patreon. You guys are helping more than you could possibly know, and at this rate, I might actually be able to get the machines I need by spring. The posters arrived yesterday, and I'm in the process of signing them. Shipping supplies like poster tubes and such should be here in early February or so. Just giving you guys a small update so you have an expectation of when that should ship. I've put a link down in the description if you haven't bought any merch yet but are interested, as well as a link to my Patreon. Everything from merch sales and Patreon goes directly into my CNC and equipment fund. So yeah, much appreciated. I also realized I forgot to ask my viewers to like and subscribe last time, so if you have not done that, that would be much appreciated as well. I heard you guys loud and clear last video, and I'm pretty happy with what I heard. There was a resounding interest in the various things that I do, like my custom PC builds or my gun room. I've begun working on videos for both of those things, as well as a BR55 breakdown video. More info on those at the end, so stick around for that. Okay, now that that's all out of the way, let's get to the Q&A. First things first, I want to address the single most repeated question I get asked. Can I buy one? I never directly commented on this in a video because I don't want YouTube's system thinking I'm selling contraband on here, if you know what I mean. I want to make a definitive statement that I am not advertising the sales of firearms. Okay, with that out of the way, I think I mentioned it before, but I made 3 different BR55s. I didn't make them with the intent of parting with any of them, I just like having duplicates. I mean, you guys can see the 2 bolt guns behind me. You have to be a special kind of person to own 2 of those. All that being said, given my ambitions and circumstances, I would probably consider parting with one for the right price, but only one. The only reason I would even consider this is because the equipment that I want to buy costs so much. If I could trade one of my BR55s for a nice home machine shop that would let me indulge in my own little flavor of insanity, I would. The problem is, I don't know what the right price is, right price. And I haven't really given it a ton of thought. I know roughly how much this whole project has cost me, around $60,000. So I have an estimate, but I haven't even considered the man hours. Hundreds upon hundreds of hours went into this, and it's hard to say how much that's worth. Realistically, I would probably be happy just to recoup the cost, sans man hours. I want to stress, this project took 3 to 4 years, and that dollar amount was spread out over those years. A friend recently told me it's like I bought a new BMW with a 4-year payment plan, which honestly isn't far off. I didn't and do not have $60,000 just lying around to drop on anything that I please. I'm not that well off. But back to whether or not I'd sell a battle rifle. It's just one of those things where there's so few, it's darn near impossible to put a price on it. And by extension, that makes it really difficult to sell. But hey, if you have new BMW money burning a hole in your pocket and want to add a nearly one-of-a-kind weapon to your collection, while simultaneously enabling me to make even more stuff like this, well, my website has a contact form. Otherwise, I don't really see myself parting with any of these. There's actually a really funny comment that I saw in my most recent video. It cracked me up. Somebody by the name of Havoc Healer said something along the lines of, "I miss the Middle Ages when the rich would fund artists like you." Yeah, man, me too. That would be awesome. So this actually leads really nicely into the next question that I would like to answer. That question is from Dylan 9x19, and they asked if I could make a chassis system that people could drop existing firearms into. He mentioned how fully custom guns are cool but unobtainium for 99% of people. That is a great question, and I would actually love to do this. This solution would alleviate a lot of legal concerns and paperwork, and it's something that I have been toying around with. Don't forget, this whole thing started when I was designing a furniture kit for a standard AR, kind of like an unbullpups your BR55 concept. Just my project kind of escalated. The BR55, for instance, I think, could be easily replicated to around 70% to 80% accuracy with some existing firearms. The low-hanging fruit here would be pursuing something with like the RDB. The RDB is relatively low cost and pretty widely available. Now, it wouldn't be a fully machined monstrosity like my purpose-built one, but it would get pretty close. And trust me, you probably don't want a fully machined kit. The BR55 weighs more than a G3, and if you've ever held a G3, you know how heavy those are. I would need to buy an RDB first, or somehow get my hands on one before I start that. I know they're not very expensive, but buying one is kind of a low priority for me right now. If and when I start that, I design the kit with manufacturability in mind, and even hopefully offer a print so people can make them at home if they want to save money. That's just one example. There are a lot more I could think of, but that definitely would be the first. So, in continuing the trend of questions that lead one into another, I've got another one that I was asked many times by many people, but I'll read Stroll Outdoors' comment and take it from there. Dude, PSA would collab with you. They love doing crazy stuff. Collabing with PSA would be an absolute dream. I personally love PSA. I'm not a PSA fanboy and admit sometimes they do miss, but they always make it right with their customers, and I appreciate what they do for the Second Amendment and their philosophy as a business. That being said, I'm not exactly sure what I could offer to PSA beyond my name. And that's not me trying to be egotistical or anything. I'm not saying my name or brand carries much weight right now, just that I don't know if I have a lot to offer. PSA and other companies like Caltech have incredible engineers who would honestly run circles around me. More importantly, they're engineers who understand what is required for mass production, something that I definitely do not have a grasp on. Working with a name like PSA is something I would like to do, but I also need to stay grounded and realize where I currently am in all of this. If you're watching this and employed at PSA or Caltech or any other company that I've been told I should work with, I have this to say. If you think I can offer something to you and we can work together, my website has a contact form. Please reach out and I will be thrilled to talk about it with you. Even if it's just something like a promotional thing, hit me up. I'd email you guys, but I don't have the slightest clue where I would send that message. And I'll admit, I did try to find the answer to that, but kind of came up blank. Okay, next question, which once again is tangentially related to the prior. This one is from Who's Got the Time? And he said, I am willing to help with prototyping for free or at cost. I am a production manager for a firearms manufacturer and I co-own a startup CNC shop. Your designs are great. Making a functional, Halo-inspired arsenal should excite the teenager in all of us. Firstly, wow. I am so humbled at that offer. I really don't know how to contact you though, so if you are the person who left this message and are watching now, please shoot an email my way. If nothing else, I'd love to talk shop with you and pick your brain for experience. I got a few comments and messages like this on various platforms offering assistance, and I would love to hit you guys up. It's hard for me to get in contact via YouTube or Twitter comments, so if you're able and willing to help, please send me an email and I will get back to you. I really don't know what I can offer in return for this kind of incredible help. I mean, I would love to share the results with people who contribute, maybe do a range day or something. I would definitely credit you when I finish the project and upload the final video, if nothing else. Now, Who's Got the Time comment continued and leads into another point I wanted to talk about, that being my choice of CNC machine. He says the MR1 is a great machine for what it is, but it does have some drawbacks. I've had a few other people say that, and I completely agree, and I get it. Abel Co asked if I would consider a used CNC machine or a mill conversion instead. The answer to that question is maybe, but probably not. I get that if you're experienced and know how to work on a CNC machine, fix it, etc., that buying a used one is ideal. You can save a ton of money in the process. The problem is, I lack that kind of skill as of right now. If I bought a used Tormach or something and it needed to be fixed, or it died on me, I don't know where I would even begin. I don't have the money to dump into problems, so buying a new machine like the MR1, which comes with an incredible customer support, is just a good fit for my needs right now. I love tinkering with my tools and learning them inside and out, but I just don't want to start like that. The PCNC 440 series by Tormach is another series I was considering, but it is significantly more expensive and the work envelope isn't large enough for some of the pieces I would need to make for things like the M90. The cheapest Tormach I could get that would suit my needs would be a 770 series, and that's easily pushing $20,000 for what I would want. If you know somebody who works at Tormach and they'd be willing to sponsor a machine in part, I'd be happy to go with them, but as it stands, they're just outside of my price point. Is the MR1 the last CNC machine I hope to ever buy? No, I would love to get something with 4th axis capabilities and a larger Z travel. The kind of machining operations I do can mostly be achieved on an MR1. And most importantly, an MR1 can't fit into my garage without any issues. I don't have a dedicated space for a machine shop yet, so size is very important. Okay, so the next question is from Official Mirth. He says, I appreciate how you chose to offer merchandise to fund your CNC machine. That being said, if you were to have a GoFundMe or something, or other crowdfunding options, I'm sure there would be people who would support you on your journey. I know I would. Who knows, given the positive reception of the BR55, it might even be so successful that you could afford one of those insane CNC machines. While you mentioned that this is a hobby, do you plan or hope to be able to go full-time to make a living off of fantasy firearms? Best wishes to you and your dreams, and thanks for sharing it with us. Incredible comment, and great question. So, I mentioned in my previous video that I'm kind of adverse to charity, probably to my own detriment, but I feel like I need to give you guys something in return for your support. The closest thing I have to a GoFundMe is my Patreon, which is linked down below. If you feel compelled to help fund me and my ambitions, you can pledge there. I would greatly appreciate it. Somebody mentioned if all of my subscribers gave me $1, I would easily have enough to buy a CNC machine. And while that's true and wild to think about, I don't expect that from you guys. Still, if you can afford to give and feel compelled to do so, the link to the Patreon is down below. Now, the question of whether this will remain a hobby. In an ideal world, I would love to keep expanding this to where it does become profitable to the point that I could justify it as a source of income. Kind of like become man-at-arms, but with firearms instead of bladed weapons. I don't think I would ever put all of my cards into this, given the fickle nature of firearm laws and content moderation, but if I was given the chance to do this in a more professional way, I would absolutely jump at it, yeah. You don't put thousands of hours into doing this unless you absolutely love it. And I do. It can be very frustrating at times when you're trying to figure something out, or how something should work and it just isn't clicking, but what job or hobby doesn't have frustrations? My biggest concern would simply be this. I would never want this passion to dull because of expectations or deadlines. I've heard it said that there is no quicker way to kill a passion or hobby than to monetize it, and I feel that's definitely true. You need to be incredibly careful and able to navigate these waters to avoid burnout and resentment. Okay, let's mix this up with a slightly less serious question. This one comes from Salty Troopa. Warhammer Bolter? Lancer Gears of War? Into the fires of battle, unto the anvil of war. Vulcan Best Primarch, fight me. Terrified ask, if you were to ever make an SRS-99, I'm guessing you'd have to downscale it, right? 14.5 by 114mm can't be cheap. You are absolutely right about that. I actually have been working on an SRS-99, and the magazine is perfectly sized for 50 BMG when scaled to the Canon proportions. 14.5 is too long to fit into the magazine, and the availability of the ammo is next to nothing. Take what I am about to say with a giant grain of salt, because I'm not an expert, but from my understanding, 14.5 uses a very specific powder that has a very specific burn rate. Reloading it safely is incredibly difficult, and I've read of many kabooms happening because of that. In addition, getting brass can be incredibly difficult because nobody really makes it, and existing brass can only be used so many times. And when I say nobody makes it, I mean nobody in the US. Obviously, Russia is still making it, but we cannot import that right now. As of recording, the cheapest 14.5 I can find online is $100 a round, and it has its powder capacity reduced by 10%, probably because of what I mentioned above. There's a reason most people will rechamber 14.5 rifles that were imported into the US into 50 BMG, beyond not wanting to register them as destructive devices, pay the stamp, etc., etc. Okay, final question, because this is getting long. I'm just going to paraphrase it while sticking a bunch of screen caps up on screen because I've genuinely had dozens of people ask the same exact thing. Are you going to put your content on PepperBox, and will you do anything with the unsubscribed guys? The short answer is I would absolutely love to put my content on PepperBox, but I don't think my content is suited for it. That's not for me to say, that's just what I think. I don't have weekly or regular uploads, so I don't know if they would want to host that. From what I've seen, they mostly like regular content. I think PepperBox is an incredible service, and I would gladly put my stuff on there given the chance, but like I said before, I just don't know if it would work there. The Unsub crew are some of my favorite content creators. I remember watching early videos of Brandon 3D printing prototype parts in his house for the AK-50. Those videos actually inspired me to start doing stuff like this. It made me realize, like, I can do this. It's possible. I'm pretty sure I've watched all of the Fat Electricians content like at least twice over. Yeah, so needless to say, I'm a huge fan of those guys and would love to make content with all of them. At the same time, they're incredibly busy with their own schedules and content, and I'm still getting my foot in the door for this whole content creation thing. I did reach out to Brandon at one point to see if he would want to do something with the BR-55 considering his Cybertruck Warthog, but I never heard back, and for all I know, he just doesn't check his Twitter messages. I don't really take that personally. If any of those guys want to do content with my rifles, consider this an open invitation. It's a lot easier for them to reach me than it is for me to reach them, so there you go. Okay, that's going to be it for the Q&A for now, but this video isn't quite finished yet. I mentioned earlier that I'm planning a breakdown video for the BR-55. I'm going to put a lot of work into that and hopefully answer all of the questions that you guys have asked about it, especially things like how I got such a nice trigger into it, because it does have a nice trigger, and I'm pretty happy with that. Make sure you are subscribed for that. I'm not sure how long it will take to make, but it will be out when it's ready. As a final talking point, I'm leaving you guys with a question and a call to action. In the comments, please let me know what fictional gun you've ever wondered, could that actually work? I've got an idea for a series of videos that could be a lot of fun, and I'm really interested in what fictional weapons have piqued your guys' interest over the years. And trust me, it doesn't need to be limited to Halo or Titanfall or anything else. It's all fair game. I have a friend who loves Unreal Tournament, and I've had some fun conversations about those guns, let me just say. Okay, I've teased this enough. You guys deserve to see it a little bit more in detail. As you can see, the MA5C really is coming along nicely. I mean, this safety, oh, it's so satisfying to work. So, just small update on this. It's coming along. Bolt carrier is done. I need to do the barrel trunnion, barrel nuts, charging handle, a few other things. A big reason why things are kind of on hold right now is I am reworking the ammo counter and how it works. I'm switching over to using Hall effect sensors to simplify things and hopefully negate the need for the magazine to directly interface with the rifle itself. That's still coming along, and until I am able to refine that system, I can't actually make the barrel trunnion and such because it's going to kind of be embedded in that. So, yeah, just a small little update on how this little gem is coming along. That's going to be it for me. If you want to help support me, this channel, and my ambitions, please like and subscribe, and check out my store for some awesome merch. Also consider pledging on Patreon if you can. Links below. Until next time, peace.